the American media isn't biased towards China. And I'm going to explain this. I had a comment, and a lot of times people try to soften things by saying things like, well, the American media is biased just like the Chinese media is biased. And I'm going to come out here and say it today that it's a lie. The American media is not biased against China. It's a lie that's repeated so often by the Chinese Communist government, by their propaganda, by influencers, by bots, and even misinformed Americans, that people have actually started to believe this bullshit. But I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to rip this claim apart piece by piece. And by the end of it, if you're still saying that American media is anti-China, then congratulations. The propaganda has worked on you. Again, there's no such thing here in the start as American media. And what does that mean? Let's start with this. What does American media really mean? Because there's no such thing. That phrase, it's nonsense. It implies that there's some unified group of outlets working in lockstep, following the same agenda, promoting the same ideas, repeating the same message, like China's state-run media does, right? That's what they do. Because their source all comes from the Chinese government. That's why their media is the same. But that's not how media works in America. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Any American will tell you this firsthand. American media is a chaotic battleground. There's different networks, there's different agendas, there's different sponsors, different ideologies, and they fight with each other. They contradict one another, and often don't even agree on basic facts. Hell, Fox News and CNN, they don't agree on anything. MSNBC leans left, the Daily Wire leans right, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the LA Times, the Chicago Tribune. They all have different editorial boards and a different point of view. That's not bias. That's freedom. Freedom to think, freedom to speak, freedom to challenge, freedom to be wrong, and freedom to disagree. That's something that China has never had, and that's exactly why they fear it. But China calls it biased. Why do they call it bias? The American media is biased. It's because they can't control it. Let's be honest about what this really is. China doesn't call U.S. media biased because it's inaccurate. They call it biased because they don't control it. And that's their standard. If they can't control it, well, it must be wrong. If it criticizes the government, then it must be Western propaganda, right? Because that's how they think. If it reports truth on uncomfortable things, like concentration camps, censorship, debt bubbles, failing infrastructure, or corrupt officials, then, well, it's just another anti-China attack. I'm anti-China. Serpent said A, Lao Y86. We're all anti-China. Free China Lewis, he's anti-China. We're all anti-China. It's projection, plain and simple. The CCP is the most tightly controlled information regime in the modern world today. They control what their people see, they control what they hear, they control what they read, and they control what they believe. They ban foreign news, they ban Western platforms, they block Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Google. They jail journalists, they disappear whistleblowers, they scrub entire disasters from the internet. And then they say, America, biased, right? Where every outlet is allowed to criticize them and say, see, you're biased against us. No, not true. We're not biased. We're just free to speak, and you're not. You see, the Chinese state media is allowed to operate freely in America even. Remember that. Here's the part that just really destroys the narrative. Pro-CCP media is actually alive. It's here in America. It's allowed to operate in the United States. CGTN They broadcast in English. Xinhua News publishes daily updates in English. China Daily prints newspapers that are distributed in major U.S. cities. They run social media accounts. They produce videos. They flood on YouTube, Twitter, state-approved messages. They operate without censorship here in America. They're not banned. They're not shadow banned. They're not arrested. They're not fined. They're not silenced. They're even verified on American social media platforms. That's us saying that we realize that you are Chinese state-run media, and we're going to give you an opportunity to say what you want to say. Meanwhile, American outlets can't do a damn thing in China. CNN can't open an office in Xinjiang and report freely. The Wall Street Journal can't investigate COVID origins in Wuhan. Even the suggestion that a reporter might ask a sensitive question gets them blocked from entering the country, or kicked out if they're already inside. Think about that. Chinese state media gets to operate freely in America. American media gets banned in China. Who's really biased here? If our media is really biased, why does our own media criticize America constantly? Let's destroy that myth. Any American will tell you this. If American media were just a mouthpiece for U.S. propaganda, if they were truly anti-China and they're just pro-America, then why are they constantly ripping America apart? If you watch the news, the U.S. media outlets go after everything. They went after the Iraq War. They go after police brutality, racism. They go after Trump. They go after Biden. They go after capitalism, corporate greed, and a more, American foreign policy. No matter what it is, you name it, the media has attacked it here. There's whole books, documentaries, podcast series, and front page headlines are devoted to bashing the United States here in America. In fact, the most common thing our media does is criticize our own government. And the best part? You know where this is going. They're free to do that. They don't get silenced. They don't get disappeared. They don't lose their families. They don't get banned from working. In China, you can even call Xi Jinping a frog. And if you do that, you're going to jail. Okay? You're risking arrest. The idea that U.S. media is some anti-China machine is so ridiculous that only someone who's never lived in a free country would even believe that it's possible. Another thing that the CCP doesn't want you to notice is that there are pro-China voices in American media more, like I said. Again, these professors, these columnists, they all talk about the China's economic miracle. We praise. China gets praised in our media, Again, and they're all allowed to say that. They're all allowed to deny the Uyghur thing. They're allowed to, talk about the China miracle, and it's allowed here, seen here. Nobody censors or silences them, But our media doesn't agree. And that's the core truth that breaks the CCP argument again. It doesn't agree with itself even. The narrative, no single line, no undefined bias. During COVID, some media said lockdowns were essential. Others said they were authoritarian. Some said the virus came from a lab. Others said that the theory was racist. Some outlets support aid to Ukraine. Others oppose it. Some praise Trump. Others attacked him. Some support Israel. Others support Palestine. That's not bias. That's called disagreement. That's what happens in a free society. And China can't stand it. Because they don't have that. Because disagreement is dangerous to authoritarianism. It makes people think. It makes people question. It gives people of the public a choice. China's system doesn't offer a choice. It offers obedience. So, when they see our messy, contradictory, loud, angry, chaotic media landscape, they call it biased. But the truth is, that's not what biased media is. It's just what free media is. Okay? In Hollywood, sports, and these corporations, they've been to China. It's not the other way around. If the U.S. media were truly anti-China, why do so many American corporations bend over backwards to appease China? Hollywood removes scenes from movies for Beijing censors. The NBA stars apologize for tweets supporting Hong Kong. Big tech companies self-censor to stay in the Chinese market. Apple disables airdrop in China during protests. Think about that. Nike goes quiet when it comes to slave labor allegations. Right? That's not anti-China bias. That's fear of upsetting the Chinese government. If anything, the Chinese media landscape is filled with people and organizations that tiptoe around China, not attack it. And they do it for one or more reasons. Usually for money. Let's be honest. It's not bias. It's business. And it shows just how the U.S., of course, is not biased. Just shows how wrong the CCP narrative really is. And at the end of the day, the real propaganda machine lives in Beijing. China accuses us of propaganda while running the most coordinated, tightly controlled media apparatus in the world. There's one official voice. We all know who that is, right? One version of every story. All media is state controlled. All journalists are monitored. All topics must be approved. Okay? All words are weighted for loyalty to the party. Ask anything that deviates from the script, okay? And the script is punished. Hong Kong protest footage, banned. Coverage of the COVID thing, whistleblowers, erased. Videos of officials being booed, deleted. Satellite images of those prison camps that we know exist, those are blocked. International criticism, censored. What real media bias looks like. It's not just bias, it's outright control. And when Beijing accuses the U.S. of having a biased media, they're not offering criticism. They're projecting their own authoritarianism playbook on a country that, to be honest with you, lets people speak freely. So it doesn't work on us. And the fact that some of these, people fall for it is embarrassing. I hate to say it, but there's people that are falling for this propaganda. They're repeating the propaganda saying that America is biased. And then that way it doesn't look so bad whenever China comes to our doorstep. You see, that's the plan. That's the plan. May not be now. May not be tomorrow or next week. But that's the plan. Okay? The CCP repeats itself. Repeat the lies until people believe them. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. They've mastered this technique. Repeat a lie enough times and people start to believe it. That's why they've done it with the biased American media narrative. They've said it so many times in schools and TV programs, in press briefings through TikTok bots and influencers. And even people in the West are repeating it without even questioning where it came from. My gosh, okay? People have got to get smarter. They've got to get smarter because the facts are stubborn. Chinese state media is followed in America. American media is banned in China. Okay? American media criticizes everyone, including American itself. Okay? Chinese media praises only one thing. The CCP. So, if you think that battle, biased. Again, who's biased? It's definitely not us. It's definitely not American media, Western media. Because American media isn't biased against China. It just reports the stories the CCP doesn't like. It shines light in a dark place. It speaks freely. It disagrees. It argues. It lets people see more than just one side. That's not an attack. That's how a free society operates. The Chinese government doesn't want freedom of speech. They don't want debate. They don't want you thinking critically. They don't want you to be, one of those people that stands against them. They want you to be loyal to them. That's not what they want, right? It's just I get so upset when I see these comments, right? Don't fall for it. You know what I mean? Don't fall for it, because I see these comments on my videos, and don't fall for it. Okay, if you're American, if you live in the Western world, uh, you're looking, you've got that freedom, and that's what they fear most. Okay, like, comment, subscribe. Um, More videos coming soon, and yeah, thank you so much, and have a good day.